I'm getting ready to record the vocal tracks for, well, that almost went overboard. Let's start over. Hi guys, I'm getting ready to record the vocal tracks here for my upcoming album. So I figured I would share this clip with you of me meeting with vocal coach Elizabeth Deus. So what you're gonna hear are just a couple of songs. I think I've got 3 clips that I wanted her to hear, and I'm having her give me her honest feedback on them and also share some things that I could do better. I wanna grow in this area, and hey, there are 2 things that I hope that you get out of this video. Number 1, I hope that some of these tips we go over, I hope that they help you. The second thing I hope you take away from this video, and then we'll get to the session here, is that I hope this video encourages you to put yourself out there. I'm putting myself out there here, okay? Understand that when you put yourself out there, yes, you're gonna have comments, you're gonna have certain people say certain things. I want you to know that whoever they are, their opinion about you does not matter, okay? I want you to know that before we get into this. So whatever it is that you know that you need to be doing, I challenge you and I want to encourage you to just put yourself out there. All that said, guys, let's get into this session with Elizabeth Deus. Before we get into some specific songs, some specific parts that I really want your opinion on, please give our audience a little backstory. Like, what's your background and what is your history of singing?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been a singer all of my life. During school and throughout high school, I sang a lot of classical, a lot of opera, a little bit of gospel. I was into rock, but that's what I was like learning. I was very classically trained during like my teen years. And then in my early 20s, I was like, wait, metal, it's everything. And I got really into like prog metal, listening to like Dream Theater, Devin Townsend, bands like that, where you have really like hefty vocals and very complicated stuff too. So it got me really inspired to learn more about that stylistic kind of singing. That is like how I got into metal. And then I just joined a metal band. I was in a couple metal bands throughout my 20s, singing all over New York City, tri-state area. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with the metal vocal style.
You have so many different styles. You know, a lot of singers will sing one way, maybe 2 ways. I'm going to share just a short clip real quick, guys, because I want you to hear the diversity in Ellie's voice. By the way, guys, that is a song that I wrote with Ken Candelas, and it's called You Are Your Master. That's by Metal Mastermind. That's where we have all of our courses on our online courses, my guitar courses, and also your vocal course, which we are going to talk about that later. So, guys, hang around for that. But, Ellie, I wanted to get your thoughts just on a few pieces of my music. The first song we're going to cover here, you guys know Masterpeace. That's off my Masterpeace album. We're going to listen to a quick clip of that.
The light in you, and I know we'll make it. Every step we've taken through this realm of time, we've created this masterpiece.
The stylisticness of your voice here, it sounds kind of like 90s rock. You're doing this very like natural rasp, and it's subtle too. And I can tell that it's in your comfortable range too. However, if you were to leave your vocal range and go for like that high note, entering like that mixed belt, or even a falsetto, but in this song, I'd probably picture it more of like a belt if you were to go for like a higher note here. So there's ways that you can like transition over to those like harder registers and practice it so that you can still carry that vocal fry, that like rock aspect to it. And it all sounds like smooth and seamless.
Now, what's something that I could do to, because I'm very familiar with getting in, going from chest voice to head voice. And there's something now this was recorded back in 2019. We're in 2023. So I have been working on that. And thanks to a lot of things I've learned from you. But what's something you can give our viewers here, our listeners here?
So, for example, in your song, I heard you singing the line, "We created this master," something like that. I might be butchering it. For the sake of the exercise, very comfortable in your range, right? "We created this master." So if you were to like, let's pretend that master actually goes up to like a higher harmony, right? I know that I want to sing this comfortably, and master, very closed word, especially with that ER at the end. So I need to kind of warp that word open a little bit.
Yeah, and you talked about that too, and we've talked about this several times that we've chatted about singing and all that. But you talked about kind of changing the vowel shape a little bit, and also kind of getting into character too. It's almost like acting. It's like in a play or something. You're getting into character. You're playing this role. So this is something I want to get better at.
And like thinking of that character also helps with building that adrenaline, which I know a lot of people kind of feed off the audience to go for like those growls or those higher notes. And a lot of that is that adrenaline that you get. So if you can really feed into a character and create that for yourself, you can sing full out anywhere, especially like in a studio.
Cool. Well, let's head over to the next song. Got two more for you guys. This one is off the Masterpeace album because that was my last album. And don't worry, guys, I'm working on the next album. It will be out by the end of this summer. It's called Final Rain. And there's just a short clip. I'm going to let you hear this. This gets more into the death metal meets almost kind of a black metal style. So let's check that out.
Loyalty, treachery.
Can I say badass?
Yes, we can say badass. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It was very experimental for me because that was my first shot at death metal. I just started doing it. And it's like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just not going to worry about what anybody might think. I'm just going to.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I can tell that you're very intuitive with what works for your voice and what doesn't, and also what is like healthy for your voice. I feel like you probably have a good intuition with that. Those are very healthy growls, I think, in my opinion.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it sounds very like smooth. It sounds very supported. I heard two different types of growls there, which is awesome. Like you're taking a deep breath and just kind of exhaling that growl.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
That's exactly what I'm doing. Just for those listening, like as I sang, there was no pain in my throat or voice. I kind of just learned on my own how to do that without having any pain. Wasn't like that when I first started doing it. If you're singing and it hurts, you probably doing something wrong. So
yeah, and you continue to work on that.
Yeah, I learned to compress the air. I learned to just sing, kind of from the abdominal and just gently and gradually push the air out so it's not all pushed out at one time. That's a little tactic that I use, and it's really breathy. It's not like a scream or anything like that. That's not something that I'm great at. I don't know if I want to travel down that route.
I mean, in my opinion, everybody's different. I think these are like the best vocals best growls to start off with if you're new to growls. They're the easiest, but it's just it makes the most sense when trying to explain it. In my vocal course, I break down the steps on how to growl in this way with that exhale. The one thing I do have to say is you do need some stamina. If it's like continuous lyrics, like the way this is, like the whole verse is basically just like that. You really need to have that stamina because it's a lot of breathing. It's all breathing, basically. A big inhale, quick one, and then like an exhale. All of your breath is that growl. And you can get lightheaded if you're not practicing it. So that's just one thing to take note.
This is just what came out. Again, it was totally experimental. Never done anything like this before. And it was my first album. This is my fourth album I released, but first album with vocals. So there are some some regular vocals, if you will, like we listened to in Masterpeace earlier, the chorus. But then there are a lot of death metal parts in it as well. So
yeah, I definitely heard like that yawn approach with that wide vowel shape.
Really wide.
And it worked there. So even going like yeah, yeah. That's a good way to kind of quickly go from those low exhale growls and jump up to that higher one, you know.
Awesome. So, guys, the next short clip is going to be completely different from what you just heard.
Home tonight. I don't wanna let you go to see the light. No one would do anything for you. Stay the night but keep it undercover. I just wanna use your love tonight. Yeah, I don't wanna lose your love tonight.
Loved it. Love that side of you.
80s. I love the 80s. So,
yeah, and it's very like knowing those songs, having that in your roster, it's very bookable. You know, that's how you can land gigs like that if you're trying to do kind of gigs like that on the side. But yeah, I noticed some things. I love how you sing them. I think you're bringing yourself to the covers. I always say, like, if I'm going to hear a song and it's exactly the way that the artist sings it, I'll just listen to the artist sing it. You know, I want to hear your version of it, like your voice. What do you bring to that cover? And I can see, like, I hear Jason in it, you know, and that same kind of vocal that you have in your Masterpeace album. I really dig that. I think you really had that down, that performance aspect of it. I noticed that maybe some notes seem a little bit strange.
sometimes, yeah. It's weird. There are certain days, and I've been very diligent. You know, I use your vocal warm-ups before every single show. I try to do some vocal exercises daily, but especially before a gig, I'm in my studio here and I'm going through your exercises and a few others that I've created for myself. This is something I really want to get better at. I really want it to come across a lot smoother than what you guys heard. Hey, I'm putting myself out there, but yeah, this is something I want to work on.
The fact that you are multitasking, even if you're so used to playing guitar and singing all the time, you're still adding another task, right? Your brain is still doing more work. The less work your brain can do, the better, meaning practice and memorizing your lyrics. And when it comes to you playing and singing at the same time, which you look very comfortable doing, a good practice that I would say is to record yourself playing the guitar by itself and just focus on the vocal technique. So to separate those two tasks and master those two and then put them back together, and just go over those vocal techniques that I know you already know. Over pronouncing those words a little bit more. I noticed that sometimes you're a little more closed when you're performing, but just get really used to hearing that guitar in the recording and getting those vocals down, like separated, and then putting them together.
That makes a lot of sense, and thank you for that, and thank you for sharing this with my audience here. Yeah, as far as lyrics, like I'm singing up there for 3-4 hours. Lyrics, I've memorized most of the lyrics to the songs. I've got that iPad up there as a safeguard. Sometimes, it might be a song I know really well, but I just need that first word. You know, these are songs written by other people, so it's, to me, it's a little bit more difficult to memorize everything. But like you said, the less your brain has to do, when you're out there, the better.
But yeah, and if you need those lyrics there as a guide, I think that also helps with your brain doing less work. So whatever you think can help you do the best performance, just go for it.
Awesome. And again, thank you so much for coming on my channel here. I really appreciate that. What I love about your teaching too is, you're really big on you guys developing your own style and sound, not necessarily trying to sing like this person or that person. Like, I know I have a limited range. I'm working on getting better at that. I may not be everybody's preference, and you guys listening, as a musician, whether you play guitar or sing, it's okay that your style isn't for everyone. That's perfectly fine. You want to continuously get better, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're developing your own style and sound. So I know you're big on that, Ellie. By the way, guys, so Ellie's course is called Metal Vocal Virtuoso. Ellie, you go over techniques that really fits all genres of music. It really spreads across really any genre of music, because it's really the foundation that you really need to sing without damaging your voice.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very classically trained, and I think that's like the best foundation you can have with these more edgier stylistic ways of singing. I write for my solo stuff, it's more like love ballads, but then I have years and years of experience singing in like heavy metal bands, so I'm like all over the place. Even if you like musical theater and you're just trying to get more variety in your voice, this course can be great for you, because there's so many basics that it needs to cover before it can get to like growls or just singing with a little rasp and a little bit of like edge and personality.
Tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I've always encouraged people. A lot of people say, well, I want to sing death metal, but I'm having a tough time. I like to encourage people to learn how to properly sing and manage your voice first before you get into some of these other styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your course, Metal Vocal Virtuoso, guys, a link to that course is in the description. That's on the Metal Mastermind platform, where my guitar courses are housed as well. So we're all one big family here. Ellie, you also do one-on-ones, though. You also do one-on-one lessons as well, right?
I do. And that's just where I really shine. Even if they went through the course and there's some things they want like some feedback on, I just really love getting to know you guys and working with you one-on-one. Book one of my one-on-one coaching sessions too.
I'll have a link to both of those, her course, Metal Vocal Virtuoso, and also the one-on-one session if you're interested in that. Questions for Ellie or about vocals in general, hey, drop those in the comments of this video.
I will see them. I'll answer them.
Yes, you'll see them as well. So you'll log in from your channel, you'll see them out there. So guys, until next time, as always, keep it metal.